Welcome to Reclaimed Heritage,
a place where we discuss traditional skills for the practical home.
We're your hosts, Christy,
Kari,
and Elaine. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing a superfood that has tons of health benefits to offer, such as improving digestion, nourishing your body with a variety of important vitamins and minerals, boosting your immune system, hydrating your body, and being a better option for those with food sensitivities.
Milk is a staple. People know it is good for you and know how to handle, preserve, and craft it. Milk is associated with king and country, a symbol of prosperity and health, and a staple in the human diet. Belief runs deep in the powerful, healthful benefits of milk. Dairy is common in diets across the world. Even in the tropics, with no refrigeration, fermented milk is treasured for its nutritional density. Milk is used for nutrition, for medicine, for economic trade, and for pleasure. Excerpt from Nourish with Kristen.
welcome back. This is Season 1, Episode 11, and we are discussing raw dairy.
I know, we're very excited.
Dun, dun, dun.
What is raw dairy?
We said it.
I know. It is exciting. We've been a little nervous. So apparently there is controversy surrounding raw dairy, but we have never really been part of it, I guess. Or
I guess it depends on who is causing the controversy, and then we just don't listen.
Correct. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, how was your week first?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Busy. Busy. It's warming up here in Ohio, so all of the starting of the seeds is going, and we've got baby chicks, but thankfully they're at my in-laws' house.
Nice.
So you have all the fun of sending children to hold chicks.
Yes.
But not clean.
Right. Terry's got it under control. She's
awesome.
Crazy chicken lady. She loves it. And
I'm jealous.
Shay is naming all of the chickens.
I'm sure. I know. I need to get on it. I did find out that my local feed store has it where we can just go pick them up, but I need to make sure that they're sex linked.
Yeah.
Not straight run.
But you don't want like 10
roosters? No, we did that. The cuteness factor overcomes any ability to think straight. And I'm like, oh, they're so cute. We'll just figure it out later. And then later comes and it was a very poor choice.
I'm leaving the house at 4:20 in the morning, and my rooster hears me and announces himself. And I'm like, oh, no, go back to sleep.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for snow. I know this sounds crazy, but I really want like a good week or two of snow to kill flies, mosquitoes, ticks, because we had like 70 last week and my garage doors were covered in black flies. And okay, I'm sure there's a scientific explanation. I don't want to Google it because I don't want to see pictures of bugs because I really do hate them. Okay. But
if someone would like to look that up and report back for her, we'd greatly appreciate that.
Here's what I don't understand. In the summertime, I see the baby flies. Like, I know they're new, they're teeny tiny, they like to fly in circles, and I get it. But for some reason, when we have warm weather in February, the flies, not baby flies, they're huge.
They are.
They're mammoth flies. Like, how do they go from I have no flies, it's too cold, to the giant flies are the only ones in existence? Did
they fall asleep?
They're drinking your raw dairy.
Probably something.
They're farm-fed flies.
I know. I know there's some grand explanation. I just want them to all die. And never go back. Listen,
you do realize like compost won't be happening. There would be lots of things that would not be happening that are beneficial.
Don't worms do that?
Have you seen the bee
really
movie?
Need the flies?
This could be the same thing with the flies. You take the bees out and the world dies. And we need the flies.
And we have beehives, and even though they sting
you just don't want the
me,
flies.
I can support it.
But the
poor ticks,
spiders,
mosquitoes, flies. No.
And staying in is not an option for you this year because you're going to try gardening. And
Yep.
Harvesting and
Try being
canning.
the keyword right there. Try.
Well, in today's episode of Reclaim Heritage, we are talking raw bugs.
And raw milk.
Seriously.
Well, I have chicken good news. My chickens are laying like crazy. I have not bought Costco eggs in like 3 weeks, so this is exciting. I know. It's awesome.
Okay, well, I have other random news actually on the egg front. So we have chickens, but we don't collect their eggs. This is a
'cause you're
well-known
crazy.
fact because my chickens like to play like it's an Easter egg hunt daily, and no one wants to participate in the game, so they just lay wherever. But I have not been able to eat eggs in many, many years. Ironically, when we moved to the farm is when I developed an egg allergy. And it would make me so violently ill that it was just never worth it. But approximately every 6 months, I was like, surely now.
Right.
And it never worked out. But I bought organic eggs for the first time. So if you followed us, you know, like in August of this past year, I ended up going gluten-free. And they talk about how sometimes it's the gluten that you are having a reaction to, and sometimes it's the glycophosphate that is being sprayed on the wheat that you're responsible for. Well, I decided to try organic eggs this week and had no reaction whatsoever. It was awesome. I've eaten like 12 eggs in the last 5 days.
But are your chicken eggs not organic? Are they? Aren't they just free ranging?
They're
and
totally
eating all
free range.
your bugs?
But we've never collected the eggs. So
All right. Give one of your children an Easter egg basket. Send them around the yard to collect those eggs.
And then
They're
float
not in
them.
the yard.
And then float them.
Yeah, that would be
And
necessary.
if you don't know how, check out Christy's reel.
They're not in the yard. This is the dilemma.
Then where are they? Where are they, Kari?
They
Where are
like
they?
to lay in our hayloft area. And so, like, this is a no for me. I'm not sticking my arm like elbow deep into random hay bales searching for eggs.
Why? There are never snakes in hay bales.
Or raccoons.
Or rats.
Or rats. Yeah.
These things don't exist on the farm.
Sure.
Okay, but we really are like building an enclosed tractor and starting all over. We have.
That's
I like
awesome.
my free range chickens. So people say, "Why do you have them? It's not for eggs." Well, because they do eat the bugs. We have noticed.
Apparently not.
Yes, but what it was before was horrific.
They eat all the flies, but the huge ones.
Big ones. What's up with that?
They're full.
I know. Oh my gosh. Seriously, we don't have to feed our chickens anything because they eat. They forage all day long. It is lovely.
Well, and you guys have a little pattern that you do where you put your chicken scraps out and they like come running.
We do.
Which is so much fun to watch. I love watching chickens run.
Yes. If you are familiar with Instagram Reels, like if you've ever seen any of the trending audio of the ladies coming to run towards you, the chickens, this is our house. We open our kitchen window and they like hear it and all come running. We don't compost food. We just feed it to the chickens.
It's very Roman of you. I'm imagining it we've done history where they would just throw their trash out the window.
Yeah.
Your girls should do like a TikTok and put boots on your chickens. That's like the popular thing too, to put, shoes on your chickens.
I'd like to see you putting shoes on chickens.
I would not. Shaylin she would put bonnets and booties on our barn cats. So she's fearless. She would not.
They would be super cute.
Yeah.
I know. They're tiny little chickens, but every time they come running, it's like little.
They are very cute.
I don't know. They're fun.
I love chickens.
They're like babushka ladies.
That's exactly what it is.
They're so cute.
They look foreign.
Get chickens.
And they just come running. And you know what it is? I know what it is. It's Robin Hood. The animated Robin Hood.
Yes.
The chicken. And she
with
like
her apron.
hikes up her apron. And she's got the, like, she's run. That's the image that's in my head every single time. If you know, you know. If not,
we know.
You should Google it.
You should. You should Google it.
Raised on Disney films.
True. Yes. All right. Anyways, all the things dairy. We did. Okay. Our last episode, we talked about how
Things you can do.
things you can
With
do
dairy.
with store-bought pasteurized milk at home to make particularly a lot of fermented dairy a healthier option, and why you should do that. And we totally still encourage and believe everything that we said in our last podcast, because we are well aware that getting a hold of raw dairy is not
always easy,
it's
or
not easy or even possible, depending upon where you live. It is,
and financially, it's more of a
so
which you
it's
could share.
Right. So why don't you explain how we actually, because the three of us do get raw dairy. How do we make that happen, Christy?
Well, we went to the website, Raw Dairy, and they point you towards, you can put in your zip code and figure out and find some raw dairy farmers near you. And then you buy into a herd share. So you actually own part of a cow. And then you pay for milk weekly. It's like your kind of like a CSA, community supported agriculture.
Right.
And I have the website here that we've used, and this is realmilk.com. And you literally just put in where you are, and they'll help you find someone who's distributing that near you.
Correct.
Yes.
And all the laws are different. So where we are, herd share is legal. Some states it's completely illegal. Some states it's just completely legal. So it's kind of all over the...
Some states you can purchase for pets.
Correct.
So, yeah.
But by law, they're supposed to dye it. Whether they do or not, who knows? But
Supposed to dye it?
we ran into this when we did goat's milk.
Like what I
So
do
we
for
could
St.
do
Patrick's Day when you color the milk green?
Yeah, we could do a herd share on our goat's milk, and that would be legal.
Okay.
But I couldn't even give it away to you for free to drink. If you were telling me it was for like craft or pet purposes, we were supposed to dye it so that it would... Hopefully the food dye would make you not want to drink it, but I don't know. Anyways, yeah. So the laws surrounding raw milk are no joke. Like you don't want to just walk onto a dairy farm that's down the street from you and say like, "Hey, will you sell me milk?" It, especially for the farmers, it's their livelihood. They don't know if you're like they're genuinely seeking raw milk or if you're somebody who's trying to like catch them in the are you going to break the law by selling raw milk? So that's not the way to go about it. You don't want to just attempt to find somebody who has a dairy cow.
We made that mistake when we first moved here. My husband, we were driving by a farm and he did pull over to ask the dairy farmer, and he was very suspicious, like who are you and why are you asking me? And no, I would never sell my milk. So that was our first clue that it wasn't as readily available as what we were used to.
Yeah, the government control over it is
had the FBI show up at some of their dairies, so rightly so.
It's huge, and we won't get into all of the politics behind it because
that would be a long podcast.
The reason why this is even a debate is completely political. It's not health based in any capacity, and milk farmers, dairy farmers have a lot of money, so just follow the money. But that aside, let's talk about why. If you're interested, like why should you even go down that path of doing raw milk?
Well, the pasteurization destroys a lot of the good things. So, so if you go back, what is it, like was it 1850s?
Yeah,
if
late
you're familiar
1800s, early 1900s.
with the swill milk controversy, where some farmers were feeding their cows like distillery waste, and they were horrible conditions. Like they couldn't, these cows couldn't even stand anymore. They were being hoisted up, to be milked. Terrible conditions. As a result, they're getting diseased. This milk is terrible. It's horrible. And then comes in pasteurization because something needs to be done.
A problem, right?
Now, from my vantage point, I'm thinking, well, how about let's change the practices of the farming?
Right.
And so they're in better condition. So the pasteurization does get rid of some of the dangerous things and the dangerous bacteria, but it also gets rid of the good bacteria and a lot of the good enzymes that your body needs, which then causes a slew of other health problems.
Right. And there's so much that goes into that time frame. America, the population was exploding. You're moving a lot of like farmers more rural, and they're trying to have a dairy cow, and it's not grazing on these huge abundant acres of grass. And so the increase of the dirty environment that they were in, and our distribution of germs and viruses amongst each other were considerably different, and amongst our animal population. And we didn't have easy refrigeration. Like that was a huge factor. There wasn't a way to, milk and instantly refrigerate, which is so key to anything, whether you are milking a goat or sheep milk, which is popular, or cow's milk. it really does have to be refrigerated very quickly. And they would get around it by immediately turning it into products that didn't require it to be refrigerated. But to do that on a large scale for millions of people, very difficult. So, the solution was pasteurization. And I don't think any of us necessarily would say that that was a bad solution at that time. It just isn't a necessary solution at this juncture.
Right.
Like, we have the ability to sterilize udders, to sterilize machines, to refrigerate immediately.
Correct.
We know that the person who we get it from tests daily their milk to make sure that they are free of the diseases and bacteria as much as you can. What was interesting to me is like the major controversy is people are talking about, how because it isn't pasteurized, it could contain harmful bacteria. And the thing that came to mind when I was reading it, because it's true, is I think in the last 10 years, every 4 months or so on the news, there is no spinach.
I was thinking the same thing, or romaine lettuce,
or romaine lettuce.
And we don't stop eating romaine lettuce.
We have no lettuce, and nobody on the news
recall after recall.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
and nobody's purporting that we should stop eating
salad
or spinach or whatever.
And those are great foods. They're also not a superfood.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
So don't. It doesn't hold water for me that this would be potentially the reason why we wouldn't do it. It does, it sounds scary when you're reading it, but we regularly put ourselves at risk in consuming food. If you're going to a steakhouse and eating a raw steak,
yes. It doesn't even, if you did not prepare the food and then
if you didn't,
you are putting yourself at risk.
Then you're putting yourself at risk.
Right. And we're saying, like, if you are interested in raw milk, and you find somebody who has the herd share, go meet the farmer, look at their farm, see the conditions their animals are in.
Educate yourself.
It's not just, we're not saying everybody is above board and is going to have a very clean environment. But these are things that typically the farmers who are in this position are more than happy to show you their process. And
they may have some stipulations depending on, how they farm. They may want you to wear some shoe covers. There may be some things that they would like you to do just to keep everybody safe and healthy. But nothing unreasonable.
No. It was, when we went, it was lovely. So very clean, beautiful farm.
Oh, the cows are
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Oh, they are.
And very well cared for.
Yes.
You can tell.
Yeah.
So, well, let's jump in maybe with starting what is in raw milk. So I had written down here that 1 cup has 150 calories, 8 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat. It has 30% of your recommended calcium, 6% of your vitamin A, 6% of your iron, 10% of cholesterol, and 12 grams of sugar. It is a complete protein, which is very rare. So that would mean it contains all 9 essential amino acids. So it's giving you everything you need to process the protein, use the protein, break down the protein. You don't have to couple it with something else to allow your body to process it or use it.
Right.
It really is a superfood. It's pretty fantastic.
I have a list here. My little raw milk versus pasteurized milk. Enzymes. So the raw milk has enzymes. The pasteurized, it's been heated out. Okay. Probiotics are in raw milk. Those have been destroyed in the pasteurized milk. There's healthy fats that are still in the pasteurized, but they're altered. They're not in their original state. Proteins are there, but again, they're altered. Whereas in the beginning, it would have been full protein. Now it has all the vitamins you just said that are active but have been destroyed. And same thing with the calcium is actually inhibited. So it's there, but your body is not able to absorb it the way it can with the raw milk.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, that heating process. So it was interesting. One of the websites that I was reading was talking about how really, now I know it sounds gross to say it, but I had never thought about it until I read it. Like, you are drinking something that is full of everything dead. It's just dead. Like, it's killed enzymes, it's denatured proteins, it's fat molecules that have been forced into a different form than they're used to.
Yeah.
Because regular milk is not homogenized. It separates.
Right.
And so it was talking about how it has to distribute the milk fat globules through an entire container of milk, forcing milk through strainers at high pressure. So your milk whole milk isn't meant to stay whole milk. It's meant to separate like cream.
And then we pull our cream.
Right.
And make all those
the
lovely things.
So it is a significantly altered product. And there's pasteurized milk. And then I didn't even realize there's like ultra. Pasteurized milk, which I'm not familiar around why you would do that, why you would heat it up even more.
To make processed food.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Well, because it doesn't spoil, right? You can buy shelf-stable milk. Is this true? In a carton?
That face, if we had a sound clip, it would have been bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. Now, listen, like, if you're prepping, if you're, that's great. You should definitely, but I think you can just can regular milk. Same thing, I'm guessing.
I have not canned milk. You're looking at me like that's something I've done. I have not. We drink it too fast. I don't know.
This is the truth. This is the truth.
Yeah.
Another tidbit here. I mentioned the enzymes in raw milk. So, lactose intolerance. When my oldest was very young, she developed a lactose intolerance to milk. Her stomach could not handle it. And we were buying goat's milk from Whole Foods in these little tiny bottles, very expensive. And I didn't know why it worked. I just knew that she could drink goat's milk and she could not drink cow's milk. But doing the
Probably
research...
a wise older person told you that. And you were like, oh,
yes,
we'll try
sure
it.
Was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. So these enzymes that are in raw milk, they actually aid the digestion and help you to absorb the nutrients. So people with lactose intolerance can actually have raw milk.
Yep.
It's so strange. It's kind of like with the sourdough and gluten intolerance.
Yeah, so the raw milk allows your gut to produce the lactase enzyme in your intestine, which then allows you to break down lactose. So pasteurized milk does not have what you need to produce that, to help your body produce
add
the
anything
enzyme.
beneficial to your gut.
Correct. So it's so funny. I remember in college, it was kind of like the Pac-Man. So, that the lactose you can't digest are the little dots, and your lactase enzyme is what allows you to eat it. And so when you don't have that, it's just, you have all this lactose flowing around and no way of digesting it. And,
It's a miserable feeling.
It is miserable. Yeah. Now, in all of the reading, nobody's been able to really distinguish between a lactose intolerant symptoms or the A1 protein symptoms. So I would say I'm either lactose intolerant or have an A1 casein protein intolerance. But either way, I have not had milk in any memorable part of my life. I'm sure when I was a child, I'm sure I had it at some point, but I actually grew up in a house with no milk. We just never had it. Now, I haven't asked. That could be because one of my parents couldn't drink it, but we just never had it. And I've never been able to have ice cream. Drinking a gallon or drinking a cup of milk would.
You're a millennial. Like the whole got milk thing was
for sure huge
targeted to you. Yeah, you didn't push for milk in your house.
Well, no, because every time I had it, I would be sick.
Okay.
So like we had milk at school, but I could never drink it.
Okay.
It's one of those weird things where like I could have solid cheeses and I'd be okay, but soft cheeses, forget it. Ice cream out, yogurt, not really. Milk, forget it. Heavy whipping cream or whipped cream on anything, buttercream icing, no. So I could not wait to get the raw milk because I was so curious if it would work for me. And ladies,
and did it?
I am taking in a very large amount of dairy every day, and
the amount of pictures of whipped cream she's making for her coffee.
And cream. I mean, this is okay. On Sunday, right before we were leaving for church, I took out a gallon of milk that I had not pulled the cream off of, and we're regularly getting 2 to 4 cups out of a gallon of milk of cream. It just depends. Each gallon is different. My husband's standing at the island with his cup of coffee, and he's watching me pull the cream out, and I pulled like 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and I put it in a quart jar. He says nothing, but I then walk over to the coffee, and I poured like 2 cups of coffee into the 2 cups of cream and added a stevia sweetener. And he looks at me and he goes, are you going to
drink the 2 cups of cream with your coffee? And I was like, yes, I am.
It's called a misto.
He goes, I thought that you were pulling the cream for the rest of us to put in our coffee. And I was like, no.
Sorry.
And you didn't even offer
I
him
did.
any. He's
Well, I said,
standing
do you
there.
want some of it? Like, I'll give you what's here. And so I did, and which was fine. But, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. I have no reaction of any kind to milk, cream, the butter. I really don't fry anything in butter ever because that would mess up my gut. So I've been making butter and hiding it in the freezer to use.
Wow.
And I'm finding I'm saving money. I know it's weird, like what we're paying
per gallon for
is
raw
kind of
milk
high.
is higher.
But then when I break down that I'm barely buying butter, I don't buy heavy cream anymore. We have all the things.
Buttermilk.
I'm making yogurt.
Oh, yes.
All the yogurt I'm not buying, the milk, the buttermilk, the whey, all of those things. I think we might be ahead of the game financially with
and
this.
we stopped doing probiotics. So a very high quality probiotic, if your children are on them or you're on them, those are very expensive.
Yes.
Very expensive. We stopped using them completely because it is a complete probiotic. It flushes your system full of all the good bacteria that you need. It's just amazing. Now, so we touched on the lactose versus the A2 protein. And we don't know which one it is. Now, the cows that we get our milk from are A2 protein cows. Now, you can. So, even if you can't get raw milk and you are struggling with dairy. Now, I do want to clarify. This is not if you have a milk allergy. A milk allergy, you are allergic to something that is going to be found in raw or pasteurized. Please hear us say, if you are allergic, do not try the raw milk. It's not going to work out better for you. But if you have a lactose issue, it could be either the lactose or the protein. You can buy pasteurized A2 protein milk in a grocery store. Now, typically it's going to be like Whole Foods or somewhere.
Isn't it called A2 milk?
It is. It's A2 milk. And that's going to be pasteurized in your store. But if you struggle with an intolerance of some sort, I would recommend you trying that, even though it's pasteurized, to see if you respond well. So if you drink pasteurized A2 milk and you don't have a response and everything's fine, then I would say that it's not lactose, it's the protein. But if you drink the A2 milk and you're still having an issue, then it's going to be a lactose problem and you would need to get raw milk to solve your problem. So why do we have cows that are not producing our A2 protein?
Well, those are the mass commercialized Holstein cows. So these cows will produce tons and tons of milk. I don't know how that actually transferred over because in other countries,
genetic mutation.
Exactly. So forever, our bodies, were digesting A2 protein because that's just what cows gave. And in other parts of the world that don't have the mass dairy industrialized are still, like you go into India, the cows that they have would still be A2 milk. Interestingly enough, which is why it worked for my daughter, so do goats. So maybe you don't have a raw milk supplier somewhere. We had, even in a yard, we had 2 Nigerian dwarf goats, and that was A2 milk, and we had them in a backyard, and you can still do it. But again, in other parts of the world, goat milk and sheep milk are predominantly what people are drinking, and they don't have the same issues that we have.
So breast milk is A2 milk?
It is. Isn't that
Goat's
crazy?
Milk, sheep's milk, and originally cow's milk. And it was a mutation, and they realized that like the cows who are carrying that A1 protein actually have a higher milk production. Well, guess what they bred for, guys?
Right.
I mean,
The higher,
now that's what we have. And it is a mix typically in commercial dairy, but if it's a mix, you're not going to gain the benefit of an A2.
Right.
A2 product. So it's very interesting. There's just a difference in the casein, and for I would say for some reason, but it's not random, you guys. Like it's God's design is that A2 is what we were meant to process, and we see that in all of the natural forms of the milk that we would consume and have consumed through history. So
and it's like the chicken and egg. Like when you have a gluten allergy, you typically do not have a healthy gut. So 9 times out of 10, when they test you for allergies, you will test allergic to casein as well, because chicken or egg. And it's one great way to help heal a gut.
Yep.
So,
Right. So as the A1 tends to cause gas, bloating, upset stomachs. It says here even
you sound
ulcers.
like an ad for...
I know. Go to my website to purchase your A2 milk today. Anyway.
No, you sound like a Pepto-Bismol ad.
I do. Yes. I've been accused of sounding like an ad, so that's okay. From my own children. But the A2 milk actually strengthens your digestive system and, like you said, aids your gut health. So instead of going down the bad road of, like, the domino effect of bad gut health, which leads to... we were just talking momentarily before we recorded how leaky gut then goes to your brain. So it causes like neurological issues. So the whole thing, it is crazy that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. It amazes me all the time how these things all play in together.
It all goes together.
Crazy.
It is astounding. And I will say in the last few months that we've been doing this and seeking out like how to provide more nutritious options to our family, we never come together, usually pre-podcast, sometimes during, and are not just blown away at how healing food in its true form is to all of the things we're struggling with. Raw milk is linked to like asthma, helping asthma. So a lot of it is identical to the research you see on kids who are breastfed.
Yes.
And but young children who are consuming raw dairy have lower incidences of everything, that autism, ADHD, asthma, obesity rates, like all the things
plagues
that
on our
all the things we're seeing kids struggle with. Having children on raw dairy is just profound in healing, but it goes to the gut. It's, guys, I swear it's always back to the gut health.
It is always back to the gut.
Our bone broth, the first thing that we started reading, it's just this healing tonic for your gut. And
sourdough, it's all of it. Really is all of it.
Our fermented dairy we did last week is just astonishing. I was just doing it today. It's going to be on our Instagram page, I think, already when you guys hear this. But they were talking about how fermented dairy lowers blood pressure. Similar outcomes to like prescription medications. I mean, it's just shocking. If you could see me, I'm like, I can't get over it.
She's our science nerd. She really does love all the science.
Okay, so we have a lovely doctor who's actually, he's at a medical clinic. He is a doctor, but he's a DO. And if you can find a DO, I would highly recommend it.
Yes.
Because they're going to look at the whole picture. And it's not just about treating the symptoms. It's looking at the root causes. And I feel like we are just a society that wants to fix it quick. And not that I never fall into that. My daughter has a really bad cold right now, and I'm calling my husband and said, pick up the Dayquil, because she wants it. So we do that too. But there are a lot of things you can do on the other end to heal our body so that we don't have these symptoms and then just have to pump with medication that isn't helping. And they usually... Okay, I saw a commercial. I won't say what it was for, but you might be able... We could get canceled for it. Anyway, and they were showing, like, if you think you might have this, then you should call your doctor and have this prescribed so that you don't end up having severe effects from it. And then at the end, it's like, may cause the side effects. Right. I'm like, so... You probably weren't going to die from that thing,
right?
But the medication is probably going to kill you.
100%. Well, in some of these bowel diseases or diagnoses, once you start the medications, I didn't know this. A friend of mine in college was telling me that she was delaying beginning some of the medications to help solve what was wrong because once she started them, she could never come off of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Gosh, what a horrible decision to have to make. Right. But even in the most amazing people that I follow and listen to, like gut health, to me it almost seems like it's the deep sea. Like there's so much, there's still more we don't know.
There's so much we don't know, and
it's just every day there's something coming out where we're just finding out that it's all about your gut. And so, you guys, this is one of the simplest, easiest, cheapest, truly the
truly inexpensive in the way of your benefits.
Instantly. for your whole family, and you guys, it doesn't have to be a lot. You could do a shot of raw milk for each person a day or every other day, whatever you can do to keep the cost down, but reaping the rewards.
Picturing yours lined up at your countertop with a shot glass.
Do you know they're not shot glasses, but the little tiny like jam
cups,
jars? Yeah. Okay. Well, I fill some up every morning, and they have to have that with their breakfast. So close to being a shot.
Yeah. So we're not even done. So this is shocking.
She's coming in with more facts.
I am. Here comes
she's
the science. So the bone health. Now, my husband could recall that about 15 years ago, I went on this tirade of why we drink the most milk, yet we have the worst cases of osteoporosis. This is not by coincidence. You guys, pasteurized milk does not have what you need to utilize the calcium that's found in the milk. So you could drink it your whole life, which we see all the time. And we have people who are breaking bones like crazy because what you need to utilize it in your bones is only found in raw milk. We were talking last time about whey protein. So you guys, the protein, it's not only complete, but you're going to this, think of what you're paying for
the broken down whey powder.
Whey protein powder. It's just in your raw milk. And they were talking about how it is such a huge contributor to slowing down or preventing muscle loss as you get older. So it's not just your bone health, it's your muscle health that is keeping intact.
Your brain.
Yes.
Like its focus, like your mental alertness, all.
Well, it's the
crazy.
cholesterol. So I was having this conversation with my mom last week, and she just said to me, Kari, she's in her early 60s, and she said, I hear all the things you're saying, and I can't do it. She goes, my entire adult life has been no fat, no fat, no fat, no fat. And she just struggles to get out of it. But I had a grandma who passed away from Alzheimer's, and now all the research is coming out. It's infuriating to me because it's the fat. It's the fat that is protecting your brain. Yes, and so guys, raw milk, 10% cholesterol. It is literally cholesterol is what you need to help fight against Alzheimer's. Okay, and I know I'm taking up your whole thing.
No, I love it.
You
get so excited.
I'm bringing out my pom-poms and I'm cheering for you.
But I saved my favorite for last, which doesn't affect everybody. But I have been attempting to lose weight, and I'm telling you, you would think every fiber in my body would tell you that if you heard me just say that I consume 2 cups of heavy cream, and the fact that I'm trying to lower my weight, these do not go hand in hand. But when I tell you I have consumed thousands of calories of dairy in the last 6 weeks of my life, and my scale, it's stuck for many, many reasons, but it's not going up, and it is very, very slowly coming down. But I have increased double and tripled my calorie intake through dairy, and my scale is still down on a downward trend. It's insane. So when I Googled it today, I didn't know this prior to that. But they were saying the protein is helping you feel full longer. It contains conjugated linoleic acid, which boosts weight loss by promoting fat breakdown and inhibiting fat production to begin with.
What?
I can't even imagine. I was thinking, if I say to my mom, not only are we not low fat, but here's your 2 cups of heavy whipping cream to drink today.
Enjoy.
Okay,
Enjoy and lose weight.
When God said, I'm going to bring you to a land flowing with milk and honey, this was actually a really good thing.
Yes.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
I know.
Milk.
Yes.
Honey. Our next episode will be on honey. Raw honey.
Wow. So it's awesome. Anyways, we know there is a lot of controversy surrounding raw dairy. We get it. We're not here to if you feel hardcore one way, we are not the people who are going to judge you for not doing it or changing your mind or whatever. Fermented food is a great place to start. Fermented dairy has a lot. It can bring back a lot
redeem
of
some of the
and you can fix your gut in some of the other ways that we've already been talking about, because I feel like it just every episode somehow comes back to
gut health.
Your gut health.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, the first time we started getting raw milk, I was terrified every time, because you just believe.
I know.
You just believe.
Yep.
So every time I would pray, dear Lord, if I'm making a mistake, don't kill us, And we're still alive. And that was many, many years ago.
Yeah, no, it is delicious. And I was worried that I would have people who wouldn't be on board, but instead I'm like, please slow down drinking the milk.
Yeah.
Well, it tastes so much better.
They do,
It
yeah.
really does. My
Yeah.
non-milk drinkers, like who hated the taste of milk, love the taste of the raw milk.
Now my
and
husband,
that is a win.
He has been consuming approximately a gallon of milk a day his entire life. So he's not new to the milk game. But I thought
He
he
took
would be
that got
hesitant.
milk very serious.
Yes. Oh, he hook, line, and sinker, whole gallon of milk a day. But I was worried when we were getting it that he would not be thrilled. But I got home and he tasted it, and he's like, "Carrie, it tastes like melted ice cream. Can we get more?" So, yeah. Anyways,
And now
anything
you're
else?
finding difficulty sharing.
I have to
Who knew?
hide and
Yeah.
pull the cream off, and we really didn't even get into all the things. I mean, you guys, they're self-explanatory. The things that we talked about last time. I mean, we pull the cream. You've got heavy whipping cream. I make butter with it. It's the same thing we talked about last time, where you're making yogurt.
same
You get the
things,
whey.
just
It's
different
buttermilk. It's just all the superfood version of whatever you're going to buy in the grocery store.
Right.
So yeah, it's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. And we hope that we have encouraged you and inspired you in some way to do something this week that's simple and easy to improve the health of your family, not feel super overwhelmed.
Yes.
Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. This way you can be alerted when our next episode comes out. I'm sure everything's going to be great and wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can check us out on Instagram.
Yeah. Facebook, YouTube.
Yep. All of it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.